Chippy Chipmunk lived under a big rock in a field. One day, Chippy Chipmunk said, "I have lived under this rock for a long time. I am going to move today." Chippy Chipmunk put 3 nuts in his cheek. He put some nuts in a bag. He tied the bag to a stick. Then he walked down the road. "I want to live in an apple orchard," said Chippy to himself. "I will find an apple orchard and I will live there." Chippy walked down the road. He met Mr. Skunk.
Hello, Chippy,"
said Mr. Skunk.
Where are you going?"
Chippy took the 3 nuts out of his cheek. He put the stick and the bag on the grass. Then he said, "I'm looking for an apple orchard. I want to live in an apple orchard." Chippy put the 3 nuts back in his cheek. He picked up the stick and walked on. Mr. Skunk went with him. Soon, Mr. Skunk and Chippy met Gray Kitten.
"Where are you going?"
We're looking for an apple orchard,"
said Mr. Skunk.
Chippy wants to move. He wants to live in an apple orchard.
"Come and live with me, Chippy. I live at the big house over there."
Chippy took the 3 nuts out of his cheek. He put the stick and the bag down on the grass. "No," he said. "I do not want to live in a house. I want to live in an apple orchard." Chippy put the 3 nuts back into his cheek again. He picked up the stick with the bag on it. He went on down the road. Gray Kitten went with Chippy and Mr. Skunk. Fuzzy Duck saw Chippy, Gray Kitten, and Mr. Skunk. He called to them.
"Ho, ho, ho! Where are you going?" We're looking for an apple orchard,"
said Mr. Skunk.
Chippy wants to live in an apple orchard. "Ho, ho! Chippy may live in this big tree near the pond,"
called Fuzzy Duck. Chippy took the 3 nuts out of his cheek. He put the stick and the bag down on the grass. Then he said, "I do not want to live in a tree by the pond. I want to live in an apple orchard." Chippy put the 3 nuts back in his cheek. He picked up the stick and the bag. He walked on down the road with Gray Kitten and Mr. Skunk. Fuzzy Duck came out of the pond. He walked on with Chippy, Gray Kitten, and Mr. Skunk. At last, Chippy saw an apple orchard. "Hey, apple orchard," he said. He took the nuts out of his cheek. "This is where I will live," he said.
"A weasel lives near this orchard,"
said Mr. Skunk.
You don't want to live here."
Chippy put the stick down. He climbed up on the fence that was around the apple orchard. "This is where I will live," he said. "I am not afraid of a weasel." Chippy jumped down from the fence. He began to dig in the orchard. He worked all day to dig a hole for his home. He made a front door and a back door. He put grass over each door. He did not want the weasel to find his home. Then Chippy sat down under a tree to look at his home. He saw a big squirrel. The squirrel walked over to Chippy. He said,
"You cannot live here. Chipmunks cannot live in this orchard."
The weasel was outside the fence. He heard what the squirrel said to Chippy. He said to himself, I wish I could get through this fence. I want to get into the orchard. The weasel looked around the fence. At last, he found a big hole under the fence. He ran into the apple orchard. The weasel looked around the orchard. He saw Chippy and the squirrel. What a fine dinner they will make for me, he said. Chippy looked up and saw the weasel.
Run!
He called to the big squirrel.
Here comes a weasel!
Chippy ran into his house as fast as he could go. The squirrel ran around a big tree. The weasel ran after the big squirrel. Around and around the tree they went. Chippy looked out of his door. He said to himself,
I am afraid that weasel will catch the squirrel.
Chippy ran out of his house. He called out,
Hi, Mr. Weasel!
The weasel stopped. He looked at Chippy. Then he ran after Chippy. Chippy ran this way and that way, this way and that way. Then he ran through a little hole in the fence. The weasel ran after Chippy. He could not get through the little hole in the fence. He went into the fence.
Oh, my head! My head!
Called the weasel.
I will get out of this apple orchard. I will go back to my home.
The next day, Chippy went back to his home in the apple orchard. He saw the big squirrel under a tree.
Chippy,
The big squirrel said,
you're a good friend. I want you to live where I live, here in the apple orchard with me.
What's that? You want one more story? You're in luck. Click the link on the bottom left-hand corner for another Cookie Crumbs story.